Hey there, my fellow author. I'm Sarah Elizabeth Sawyer, an old soul kind of writer living my dream as a full-time author and authorpreneur. But I didn't start out living a confident, creative lifestyle. I struggled with the fears and the mental and emotional barriers that so often plague writers at all stages of their author career. But the truth is that with the right knowledge, tools, and training, you can overcome those barriers. I'm here to teach you how I've developed a lifestyle that's allowed me to publish 19 books and counting. Each week, as you tune into the Confident Fiction Author podcast, you'll get clarity on the steps you need to take to advance your writing career. Whether it's developing your ideal writing routine, tackling new skills like dictating your fiction, or overcoming the obstacles life throws your way, this podcast will help you live a more confident, creative lifestyle. Let's get started. Well, hey there, my fellow author, and welcome to this episode of the Confident Fiction Author podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Elizabeth Sawyer, and today we are on week 3 of my D.R.A.F.T framework, my complete roadmap for learning to dictate your fiction. So let's take a look at where you are right now. In week 1 with D for devices, you learned you already own everything you need to get started with dictating. Week 2, we covered R for reps, and you got the 3 reps that will help you dig that neural trench in order to make dictating as natural as typing. And those 3 reps were reading out loud, speaking your punctuation, and dictating your morning pages. And that brings us to the letter A in the D.R.A.F.T framework. And A is for approach. Now, maybe you've been doing your reps for the past week and a question has crept in. Maybe you've been thinking, okay, but when I actually dictate my fiction, am I supposed to watch the screen and watch the words appear? Like, should I close my eyes? Should I be looking at the screen at all? Like, what's the right way to approach dictating my fiction? If that's the question in your head, I have the answers for you today that is going to take some of that pressure off. And the first is that there is no right or wrong way to dictate your fiction. There are 3 approaches or 3 roads into your story world, and today I'm going to walk you down all 3 of them and help you pick the one that matches your brain. Let's get into it. Here's the principle underneath this whole episode. Dictation is not one technique. It's a family of techniques, and the road that makes dictation feel effortless for one author is maybe a road that makes it feel impossible for another. I have taught hundreds of authors to dictate at this point, really thousands of authors, and I can tell you the authors who quit are very often not failing at dictation. They're failing at one approach to dictation, and it's the only one they knew to try. They never found that one path over, the one that would have made the whole thing work for them. So as I walk you down these 3 roads, instead of you asking which one is best, I want you asking which one is most accessible for my brain right now. And here's some good news for you. Switching is allowed. Nothing you choose today is permanent. I've actually traveled all 3 of these roads myself at different seasons of my writing life, and I'll tell you where I've landed as we go. The first road is live transcribe while watching the screen. You are speaking into your device, and we covered devices in the first part of this series, but you're speaking and your words are appearing in front of you on your device. This is the most typing-like of the 3 roads, and that's why it's the most natural first road for most authors. It feels familiar, you can see your progress, you're not letting go of very much all at one time. And the real motivator, one of the biggest pros to this approach, is the word count. You are watching it climb as you're seeing those words scroll across the screen. I had one author in my boot camp who was just completely fueled by that number ticking up on her screen. And every session, and I'm seeing this with my authors inside of Fictate, it's like a little competition with yourself. Like you're watching those words stack up in real time, and it's what keeps authors coming back until that trench is dug. Now, there is a cost for going down this road. There are cons. And the biggest is that everything is visible, including the errors, the verbal stumbles that you might make as you're dictating. And when maybe your transcription garbles a word, like you'll see it happen. And there's just a lot of action happening on the screen as you're trying to get your words out. And if you're the kind of writer who cannot walk past a typo, that is going to tug at you mid-scene. Autocorrect jumping in and rearranging a word you already spoke, it's all disorienting. So the skill for this road is speaking through the errors. It's seeing the mess and dictating right past it because cleanup will come later. If you love visual feedback and you can train yourself to just let the errors sit there, leave them alone, this road is a great place to start. It's what you are most used to with typing and seeing words appear on the screen. And so for your first few sessions, this may be where you want to start, just to start getting grounded with dictating your fiction. The second road is the one that I traveled for about 5 books, and that is live transcription, but don't watch it happen. So you're not looking at the screen. You're looking away from the screen. Some authors like to close their eyes. I like to look out the window, or sometimes if I'm inside, I will just leave my phone sitting there on the arm of my chair and take my glasses off, and I can see there's action happening on the screen. I know it's transcribing, but I'm not actually seeing all of the words and errors and all the things happening on the screen. So the device is still transcribing every word live. You're just not supervising it. And I want to tell you what happens when you stop watching those words. You fall into the scene. This is just such an immersive way to dictate your story. Your story world is just playing out in your imagination instead of on the screen, and there's nothing between you and that scene. I find that my dialogue just really starts popping off the page because I'm doing a bit of role playing with the characters and just really getting into visualizing the scene because I'm not watching the words appear. And my characters are just speaking in their own voices at full speed, and I'm just the one saying the lines out loud. I have had authors in my boot camps who this is the single change that makes dictation work for them, is just simply stop watching the screen. All of that visual noise, the words appearing, the errors flickering, the autocorrect jumping around, it can just really be overloading. And when you look away, that can make dictation feel possible for you. Now, there is a con to this in that the tech can go down on you. So if your app stops transcribing and you're not looking, like you can speak a whole scene into nothing. Maybe you got a phone call or something that interrupted and you forgot to reactivate your dictation function, like whatever is going on, or your phone crashes or goes dead and you didn't realize it. But there's a simple fix to this, and it's a habit I teach called just the peripheral check-in. Every few minutes, you're just glancing over and seeing if words are still appearing on the screen. And then you get back into the scene, and that just becomes automatic. It's kind of like just checking your mirrors when you're driving. So if you're easily distracted or you're a strong visual imaginer, try this road after a few sessions on road number 1. This is where I've written so many books. And now I just don't watch those words as I'm dictating. The third road is record now, transcribe later. This road is special to me because it's how I wrote my first 9 books, and it's how I've gone back to doing my dictation now. And that was 9 books into a recording app on my phone. So on this road, there is no screen at all. You open a recording app, you tap record, and you speak your story. When the session's done, you have the recording transcribed, and that's when you see your words. This is my fastest road in dictating. Like, it is full throttle. Nothing to watch means nothing to slow me down, no errors to see, no temptation to edit, no transcription lagging that I'm pacing myself against. It is just you and the story at the sound of speech. And it works everywhere. No internet connection is needed when you're recording. You have that screen freedom so you can walk, do the dishes, sit in a dark room, check your outline. Plus, you have that audio backup of every session, which is just a comfort all of its own. Now, with the record and transcribe method, one of the cons to it is that the workflow does have more steps. You're recording and then transcribing and then transferring those words into your writing software. So it's a little clunkier and you can't read back what you just wrote in mid-session. So you're holding the thread of the scene in your head. And one hard-earned rule from my own years on this road: keep your recordings to like 15 or 20 minutes. That way, long recordings, you can have corruption risk, and I just don't want that best scene living in one long 90-minute or 2-hour file. This is actually the original way that so many authors dictated, and we're talking for centuries. Just speaking the words and it being captured by a scribe or a secretary or in a dictaphone, and now digital voice recorders and our own phones, just speaking and those words being captured and then transcribed later. So honestly, this road is older than all of our other techniques and technology. So how do you choose? Let me make it simple. If you want familiarity and you love watching progress, start on road 1, live transcribe and watch the screen. If you want immersion or visual noise, you just know it's going to wear you out, try road number 2, the live transcribe and don't watch the screen. Just give yourself that time to develop the peripheral check-in habit. If you want speed and total freedom from the screen, out taking a walk and getting your words in, or if your device fights you on the live transcription like we talked about in the devices episode, take road number 3, the record and transcribe later method. And I want you to hear me on this. You're choosing a starting road. You're not signing a contract. You're not making a commitment to one of these roads. I started out with the record and transcribe method. I wrote 9 books that way, and then I switched to doing the live transcribe, and I would watch the screen, and that was just too much overload. And then I was on road number 2 for several books where I was live transcribing but not watching the screen. And now I'm going back to the record and transcribe method. So just know that your road will probably change as your trench gets deeper, and that's not inconsistency. That is growth. Your action step this week is to do one session on the road that called to you while you were listening to this episode. Just one session. Take your morning pages that you were doing from last week's reps or a throwaway scene and dictate it on your chosen road. If you picked road number 2, do your peripheral check-ins. If you picked road number 3, just be sure and keep those recordings under 20 minutes. It's not a hard and fast rule. It's just an extra safety net. And then just notice how it felt. Not how clean the transcript was. You're not worried about getting that just yet. Just how the speaking felt, and let that feeling be the signal that tells you whether you found your road that you want to get started down or if you want to test another one. And you have my permission to do all 3. And then do come over to my Substack at fictioncourses.substack.com. Drop me a comment on this episode and tell me which road you chose and how it went. I do read every one of those, and I just want to cheer you on and give you any other tips and tricks that I can to help you go down those roads. Now, if you want a tool where all 3 roads are built in, my app Fictate was designed specifically for dictating fiction authors. Live transcription is an option that you can turn on and you can watch it or ignore it or just turn it off. And it is also just the record and transcribe method there as well. So you're just recording and then your transcription comes after you have finished your writing session. So it really is all 3 roads, and you get to pick which way you want to approach your fiction inside of Fictate. And Fictate is now out of beta and it is open to everyone. And there is a free trial waiting for you at fictateapp.com. That's dictate with an F instead of a D. And you can also just search Fictate in the App Store or on Google Play. Next week, we are getting to the letter that authors tell me they fear the most, that they have the most apprehension around. And that's why it's not until step number 4 of this draft framework. But it is the one that is the most rewarding. F is for fiction. This is where we are going to start working on training your brain to speak story, actual scenes, characters out loud. I'm going to give you my 4-sentence framework for your first dictated paragraph, and I'll tell you about the author who dictated a full scene in under 3 hours because she had a deadline that would not wait. You don't want to miss that. That's all for this week, my fellow author. I will see you in the next episode of the Confident Fiction Author Podcast. Take care.